I'm so excited to be here. My name is Urquita DeRowan. As Katie said, I'm doing a bunch of things, but I'm a consultant physician and we're health technology space, and I've been working with GDI on their board for the past couple of years. But let's just say today isn't necessarily about me, it's about you and how you can kind of leverage your LinkedIn. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. And now I know you guys can see the screen. So, this is what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about how to crack the code of networking on LinkedIn, how to boost your opportunities now. So, we're just going to start by just talking about a person, someone that you may can relate with, some person that you may have kind of seen as they've transitioned into technology. So we'll call her Elise. So Elise began her journey into the tech industry with limited technical knowledge, but joined GDI to grow her skills. So she quickly realized that there was some potential in virtual networking on LinkedIn, which would accelerate her learning and career growth. She began to actively engage and learn on LinkedIn. She engaged with tech influencers, joined relevant groups, and consumed valuable content, which she shared on the platform as well. After a while of engaging and learning and growing and taking courses and networking with people, she actually kind of grew from a novice to a subject matter expert herself, acquiring new skills and connecting with the industry to become a recognized thought leader in her niche, eventually landing her dream job. Now, this is a nicely placed little story, but it definitely can happen to you if you leverage LinkedIn for all of the things that it offers. And we're going to dive deeply into that today. So, we're going to talk about the Navigator's Playbook. So, during this session, we'll explore the techniques to empower you to maximize LinkedIn's presence in your life and in your career, leverage virtual networking for career growth, and provide practical tips and things for success. And as one of the last speakers, I don't know if you guys saw them, mentioned, tech is about humans. So networking is also about making that human connection. So we're going to talk about how to build relationships, build bonds, and some of the key core concepts are breaking into tech, networking basics, setting up your page for success, how to build your LinkedIn presence in tech, unleashing the power of LinkedIn through networking strategies, virtual networking magic, unlocking LinkedIn features, tech influence, exploring thought leadership, and LinkedIn University, how you can learn from others. So I think Katie gave me a wonderful overview, so I won't go too deeply into it. So, triple board certified physician in the DMV, DC area, consultant, speaker, author. I just love empowering women. And I'm also working to break the healthcare barriers in healthcare tech in diverse communities. A founder of the Pacemakers, which is an organization dedicated to addressing the social determinants of health, and Arkita Duran Enterprise, my consulting agency, and a lovely advocate for GDI. So, a lot of people are really familiar with networking. It can cause kind of like a cringe mode in some people, and then some other people like they can't wait for it. And I want you to just kind of take some time to think back to your last networking event. Let's think about a person named Sarah. So she rushed to make this 6:30 p.m. appointment after work. She found herself amidst a sea of people, navigated through the crowd, but couldn't help but notice the noise and the chaos around her. The room was filled with hurried conversations, and it was challenging to find a moment to connect. She approached a group of professionals hoping to join the conversation, but her attempts were met with polite nods and fleeting attention. Names and faces blended together, making it difficult who to remember. As Sarah looked around, she noticed some individuals were engaged in intense discussions, while others were on the sidelines, feeling excluded. Despite her best efforts, the pressure to impress and make a lasting impression weighed heavily on her. Time seemed to slip away, and meaningful conversations became a fleeting opportunity. When the event closed, she reflected on her experience and realized that she didn't mostly get anything out of it. She couldn't help but acknowledge the challenges and unpleasantries that came with it. Determined to find a better way, Sarah clicked on LinkedIn, where she was able to connect with some people who were at the professional event and set up virtual networking with them through one to ones. There, she was able to express her interests, her ideals, her likes, and found some common ground. Even for the most extroverted of individuals, there can be prohibiting factors in person networks, such as awkward small talk, overcrowded events, inaccessibility to key individuals, difficulty remembering names, unequal power dynamics, time constraints, pressure to impress, geographic limitations like her rushing from work, competitiveness, and exclusionary practices. There are definitely perks to in person networking, but there are other avenues that can be sometimes more valuable. These are social networks. So, social media is everywhere. And while there's so many networks out there, they're not all for your professional benefit. I know we all love the Instagrams and the TikToks. I personally like Pinterest. I know it's kind of like for old people and girls, but like it's my thing. YouTube, who doesn't use YouTube? There are newer ones out there like Lemonade, but LinkedIn is my absolute favorite, and we're going to dive into why. For those who may not be familiar, there are some people out there that don't know what LinkedIn is or why. Um, what exactly is LinkedIn? Like, isn't it just like Indeed? Per LinkedIn, they're the world's largest professional network on the internet. You can use it to find the right job or internship, connect and strengthen personal and professional relationships, and learn the skills you need to succeed in your career. Here are 8 ways that LinkedIn can boost your career. Through job opportunities. Obviously, there are places on there where you can apply for jobs directly or you can meet with recruiters. There's an extensive job database where they have set job alerts and they can showcase your skills. Also, the recruiters can see those skills that you showcase to provide a direct channel and explore job openings and advance your career. There's the networking, which we're going to dive a lot into, where you can go through events, webinars, online conferences, and kind of meet people one on one. Their mentorship aspect. LinkedIn provides access to mentors you may not even have the opportunity to interact with in real life. They may be in another country, they may be the CEO of an organization where you would not have encountered them. But LinkedIn kind of decreases some of those barriers where you can connect. There's community and support. There are various groups and communities that are popping out of LinkedIn and in LinkedIn where you can connect, share insights, and exchange opportunities. There are places where you can kind of build that sense of belonging and collaboration and empowerment. There's access to industry insights. So there are so many things such as the hubs for industry news, trends. There are even insights into how different people's metrics and analytics work for their own page and others that can help you figure out how to engage and what you should be learning in terms of the latest advancements in your field. It's a place for professional branding. So it offers a platform where you can showcase your skills, experiences, your portfolios, and kind of serve as this personal tool to present who you are and what you're about. It's an opportunity to build a thought leadership platform that kind of builds off your brand. And of course, there's the global reach. So LinkedIn is in most countries. So you can have the opportunity to talk with someone who's in tech in Ireland as opposed to in your home state and potentially work remotely for them. So when we think about LinkedIn, we have to start with our profile and how we should maximize it. Since I'm a doctor, I love to kind of make medical analogies. So we're going to talk about the anatomy of a powerful profile. Now, this next slide may look a little messy, but we're going to break it down. So this is the anatomy of all of the components of a quote unquote good LinkedIn page. Let's look a little closer. So, first, when you start thinking about kind of revamping or starting a new LinkedIn page, you have to do a little research. You should do a Google search on the bar to kind of look up the relevant keywords that are related to your field so that you can know how to apply some of those to your own profile. Then we go to an awesome background photo. It's something that's eye popping that will allow people to kind of showcase who you are and see what you're trying to represent. So if you're a woman trying to go into tech, you might have a picture of a computer there and someone working in a certain field or certain highlights from different articles or keywords up there to kind of pop. You want a professional headshot. One of the biggest mistakes about LinkedIn is not having any photo. It makes you seem inauthentic. I saw one of the comments that was saying that their mom actually said that they thought that LinkedIn was fraudulent. That could be because there are some frauds on LinkedIn. So you have to kind of work and kind of figure out how to gain information and not just give it freely just because they have a profile. But that's an entirely different conversation where some people have been found to put out false job advertisements and kind of take your information. So kind of be mindful of what you're sharing and what kinds of professional backgrounds they have and kind of verification, which we'll get to like in some of these key points as to how you become verified and showcase your authenticity. So with the professional headshot, sometimes I know that we're going into a recession, the economy is bad. You may not be able to afford one. So, one, there's the advent of Canva, where you can create headshots at home and kind of make them look better. There are some AI headshots, some look better than others. I will let you know I've been playing around with them. So, that initial photo when I gave my introduction was actually made by AI. So, there are some decent ones out there. You want to include your full name, no nicknames, not Ray Ray, not Kiki if your name is Kendra, like your full name, government. You want it to match what is on your CV or your resume. You want to have a thoughtful professional headline that kind of showcases who you are, who's eye popping. It doesn't necessarily have to say technologist or data analyst or computer engineer. You can have that up there, but you can make it something where when you're commenting is one of the first things that people see. It can stand out. You can use an emoji with it or something to make people kind of want to read your comments. Your industry, so people in your industry can find you if they're doing a search. Your full location, it doesn't have to be your whole address or even your direct city. So I live in Maryland, which is about 10 minutes outside of DC. So to catch a larger network for in-person things, I wrote DC metro area. So there are opportunities where you don't have to write your full address. A personalized URL is really important. When LinkedIn gives you a name, it's like linkedin.com/n/56736. No one's going to remember that. There's a way where you can go into your settings and change it to slash your name. Your recently published post. This is very important because this is how you're building your thought leadership. So if you're creating articles, if you're putting things together, this should be showcased there and you can actually leave some to be highlighted. Your summary, kind of who you are in a nutshell. This talks about crafting why someone should want to reach out to you, giving your who, your why, your what you're going to bring to them, what you're bringing to the table, what experiences you have. It's not necessarily a kind of CV type thing, but it's more of a summary of who you are, your bio. You can utilize other things if you're having difficulty writing this, like Chat GPT. Like AI is definitely helping people kind of redefine and draft things in which it can be physically appealing. Your experience, which is self-explanatory, the jobs that you've held and what you've done there. Your education, your publications, your courses, these are the things that can highlight things. Then it gets fun. So on this side, after all of the basics on the left, we have your skills. These are things that you want to stand out. If you know how to do coding for certain things, if you know how to build teams, if you know how to lead, you put this here and then you can also kind of verify that you've seen people doing that by asking them to endorse your skills. That's one of the key fields. So if you say that you're great at what it says up here, marketing, you can get someone to go in there and endorse it. If I'm saying that I enjoy public speaking, it's one of my skill sets, it's one of my passions, which is on my page. So hint, hint, if you want to go and kind of endorse me, you can do that. And it'll show that more people are verifying that you can do that. You have other things that are a little deeper than just verifying recommendations. So this is if you've worked with someone and you would recommend them to someone else. So it's kind of like when they're like on a job application and you're saying like references furnished by request. These are digital references. So if you have a colleague that you would recommend working somewhere, if you see my speaking thing and you're like, I want her to speak at another event, go put it on there. And you can also request people to speak to you. So people who've seen your portfolio, who've worked with you. Maybe you've done a GDI course and you've finished something longitudinally that you've done well in, and you want someone, your instructor, to endorse you. You can ask them to do that, or someone who's worked with you. These are the connections, self-speaking, the people that you are kind of requesting. We recommend that you know the people or at least met them in like a conference, things like that, because connections are more personal as opposed to followers like on other social media realms. There are followers now that they're allowing on LinkedIn to kind of build up your base. Groups, self-explanatory. You can join so many different groups about women in tech, girls in tech, our groups. There are groups for the different fields that you may be working in. So definitely utilize those. And then the final part is just kind of putting it all together. So for this next part, I'm going to kind of stop talking and kind of let you guys see a page in action. Getting technical difficulties here. Okay. So now I'm going to reshare my screen. And now you can see, we're just going to take a little drive through my site. So as we talked about, key part right here. My name doesn't say Urquidez12345. It says my title, Urquidez Duran MD, so people can search me. Here, I have a banner that's colorful. It sticks out. It kind of shows what I want to be known for. So if you want yours to be known for data analytics, if you want yours to be known for systems solutions architect, systems-based things, you put that here. And then you have some pictures that are cute. I made it on Canva. Then you have a picture, a portrait that sticks out. Color is good, neutral background. You want to have your official title and your name, your government name. And then this is that headline that people see when you're posting on different things. It goes through all of the different things about the post. You can kind of pin posts that you want people to see. Your activity, it shows all of the things you've been liking, the number of followers. And then there are other things like your experiences. You don't have to write every job that you've ever had, but you want to put the ones that kind of showcase your journey. Your education, your licenses, certifications, portfolio things. If you've done any volunteer work, that might also translate into your field. Your skills, in which you can have different people endorse. Your recommendations. It also shows the recommendations that you've given. Your publications, your honors, and things like that, the organizations that you're affiliated with. And then these are showing some of the groups and the interests that you're doing. And with that, you can explore that and start meeting people, networking in that realm as well. You also, there's a little thing, just a pro tip, if you're looking for a job, it may be okay to pay that extra $30 so you can get more analytics in terms of showing who's seen you, who's followed you, who's viewed you. You may see someone that you might want to work at, and you might see that they liked a post of yours, and you can go in there and kind of peep at what they've been doing or kind of reach and connect with them. There are other things you can also do in terms of looking at when you're searched, as well as looking into the different job realm things to showcase what they're looking for, how many people have applied, and all of those analytics. So if you're in the job hunting phase right now, it might be a good idea to try that. So now we're going to go back to the presentation. It's fun to switch. So here we've kind of taken that little dive through mine, but we want to talk about you. So this is your personal billboard. It's your personal brand. Whatever you like or not, if you like it or not, it is. It's kind of your digital portfolio, the message that you're sending across to other professionals and jobs. So make sure that we are making yours shine. When you look at this, what do you see? What do you envision? You see Colin up there with the Nike symbol. Just do it. It invokes a lot of emotion, whether or not it's good or bad, whatever you believe, but you have some emotion when you see this picture. You want people to have positive emotions when they see yours and kind of want to follow your brand. So, what should yours say? Like, I don't know. It's all for you to reflect and think about in terms of what message you want to get across. I will say that it should be unique and authentic. It doesn't have to be cookie cutter. It doesn't have to be just like mine. It doesn't have to be like the other people who are in the technological field. Make it you, make it unique, but keep it professional. So, y'all want to link up? Then we have to kind of figure out how to network. So, the thought of networking, as we discussed in those stories earlier, may be daunting to some. Here are some tips that one of the thought leaders on LinkedIn posted that I thought was really thought provoking. Networking doesn't need to be a 30-minute Zoom call all the time. It can be a comment or a post, a quick email or DM, a beneficial introduction where you're connecting someone else to someone else, or a share of that person's work with your community. Some tips that to network are connecting one with everyone you know. They recommend that you have at least 500 connections to kind of build your base. Join industry specific LinkedIn groups and actively participate in discussions, which may build that community with you. And you'll be able to continue to share those ideas. And sometimes when I comment on something, someone will DM me and they say, I really like what you wrote about that. Can we have a chat? Or look at this article I wrote. What do you think about it? And it builds on the commonalities. Attend virtual networking events and webinars similar to this that are in your field. And then utilize finding that nearby feature where you can kind of look for professionals in industry conferences that are local to you. You can also reach out to alumni from your educational institution or people from your network. And it's also a great way to kind of think about leveraging LinkedIn's people also viewed section to see people that have viewed your LinkedIn page who've viewed other people to see what similar backgrounds you have, career paths, or if it's someone you potentially want to connect with or follow. So, these are some other tips. So, use that events feature like we talked about. Actively engage in discussions and comment on posts. Leverage the messaging feature and participate in events like hackathons, collaborative coding programs, because you never know who you meet and who you would connect with. As I just showed you in the last slide, thought leaders and gurus are definitely reshaping the way that LinkedIn is growing. A few years ago, I don't want to say back in the day, you were on there, you applied for a job, you looked, it wasn't necessarily as much of a social engaging platform, but that's changing. And here are 5 gurus I think that you should learn from and follow, because you can, of course, follow these thought leaders in your field, which I think you should, but sometimes it's okay to get ideas from leaders outside of your field because a lot of concepts are transferable. So Justin Welsh is very popular in the community on LinkedIn, and he has, I think, hundreds of thousands of followers, where he tells you a lot about building your network and community and connections. He also has a very popular network and newsletter on his thoughts. Jasmine Alec, he definitely talks about creating a niche. So there's a lot of lessons that you can get from creating your niche in tech. Sam Schwan, he definitely talks about writing and crafting stories and kind of getting your thought across. This can be translated into how you can showcase who you are, not only on LinkedIn when you're writing articles or if you're creating comments, but while you're interviewing. Laura Costa is another guru on LinkedIn where she talks about how to also craft stories and content and create your brand. Branding is important. If you're branding as you're going into the interview, what sets you apart from other people is something that you definitely want to showcase. And then Chase Jaiman is definitely a person that you want to follow. And I think the other person it kind of went off is Matt, because he talks a lot about how to grow your LinkedIn. And now that we've talked about connections and building your brand and all of those things and how to set up your page, it's also important to figure out what features you want to use, because I've been mentioning things like articles and posting and commenting. LinkedIn is not straightforward like Instagram or even Facebook, where it's like click post. There are a lot of different ways that you can utilize the features that you may not know about. So here are some of the top features. My favorite way to engage is through polls. This can help you kind of figure out what your network is looking at, gather insight. It can help you kind of encourage that interaction because it's something that's quick that people don't necessarily have to think about and answer with. And it helps you kind of understand their perspectives. You could write a poll on what color is the best color to wear on a virtual interview, and you may see hundreds of people post. They may click a dark color, you might click something bright to stand out, something polka dot for them to remember you, and it's an interesting conversation starter as well. Articles are a thing. They're still, blogging is real, and it's definitely a way to get your ideas out there without being published on national things like magazines or other public blogs. You can kind of create your own, and then it can create a portfolio of your thoughts to establish yourself as a thought leader. Of course, messaging. Everyone wants to slide in everyone's DMs. There's messaging capabilities on LinkedIn. You can even message up to a certain amount of people who you're not connected with to learn more about them, but they do place limitations on messaging people that you're not LinkedIn connected to. There's learning on LinkedIn. There are so many courses that are underutilized that can help you kind of grow in your field, not only with networking and communication and all of the generic things that come with being a leader, but there are other technical skills as well. And sometimes when you take the LinkedIn courses, you get verified and you can get a badge, and that can go on your LinkedIn profile, and it can help recruiters kind of boost you up because they know that you have the standardized skills outside of everything that other people who may be applying also boast. And then there's the open to work feature. This one is kind of controversial because it's kind of like a thing of like, are you open to work? Are you not open to work? Why are you broadcasting it? What does it even mean? It definitely lets your network know that you're open to work, and it boosts and kind of alerts recruiters. So it's a valuable resource to use, even when you're not necessarily open to full time work. If you want to do some consulting, if you want to do some side gigs, it's open to work. Kind of starts that conversation when people reach out to you. They'll be like, "Oh, are you actually open to work?" And you can kind of let them know if you are or not at that moment. Now I know I said 5 things that I was gonna describe, but I left my personal favorite to carousels. They are popping up everywhere, especially on LinkedIn, and I think that carousels are so important because they tell a story. They show that you can engage and hold a conversation. They show that you have researched and you know a lot about a topic in order to create a multifaceted carousel that is organized, makes sense, has links, and is visually appealing. And it kind of attracts the users to kind of learn more about you and what you do and explore your page, perhaps connect, perhaps purchase something for you if that's the thing that you're doing. And it kind of is one of the big ways that I think is establishing a lot of people as thought leaders on LinkedIn. All of the 5 gurus that I showed you a few slides ago post at least 1 to 2 carousels a day. And I think that is how they quickly built up their community. If you don't know what a carousel is by my description, because I didn't describe it. It is a multifaceted little kind of slideshow or PowerPoint, if you may say, if we're old school, or Canva presentation like this is, where you post on your link and you can just kind of scroll next slide, next slide, next slide through a thought. So it usually starts with some kind of captivating caption that kind of gets people's attention, or photo to kind of say, let me show you how I did this, or let me show you how to do this program, or let me show you how I changed the world of text, to kind of get people's curiosity going. And then it builds on telling a story and building on the knowledge base that you have. And it allows you to visually engage the experience for your audience and showcase your work and highlight key points. So I know we're talking about all of this networking and everything, but what you're probably just wondering is that I need a job offer. How is that going to happen? What does this have to do with it? So you must remember ELYSE from earlier, the first girl in the story. So she blossomed and advanced her career after dedicating time to optimize LinkedIn. We talked about how you can optimize yours, but it's up to you to do it. So what will be your story? You'll notice more engagement and opportunities pop up as you continue to build on your LinkedIn profile. There are some specific things you can do when job hunting, though, such as following the company page to learn about the company, its culture, research the backgrounds of those people who are similar in those roles that you want to get into, and see if there's anything that you can learn or add to your portfolio, as well as researching to see who the hiring manager is. You can go on LinkedIn, you can actually search it, put the company's name in the job component, and put in hiring manager, or the person who is kind of in your field. So say if I wanted to be a medical director of some company, I could put in company X medical director or chief medical officer. You see, do the next level up, and you can see all of the people who may have that job title, so that one, you can either connect with them, learn a little bit about them before you go on the interview, or talk to other people who may be on the team and see how they're feeling about the experience there, the culture, or if they're really enjoying the work, or if they're excited about it. You can see the different things that they are posting. You can also, as a caveat, there have been some pluses or minuses in terms of LinkedIn, in terms of where to apply for the job. And one tip that I'm going to stick with for now is easy apply is easy for a reason. So you get a lot of replies with easy apply, because it's just like there's a button on LinkedIn where you can just apply for the job with your resume that's already in there, but then they get bombarded with it. One of the tips is to go directly to the website after looking at the description there. And sometimes those get filtered through a little more quickly because they may be connected with their internal hiring tech stuff. So this week, I implore you to go on to edit your page, implement some of these things over the next 30 days, and then check back in with us. So in 30 days, you can reach back out to GDI or me or both and let us know what changes you note. If you have more people reaching out to you, if you notice that you're building more connections, if you notice that you're growing, you get a job interview. And note what happens at 30, 60, and 90 days. 6 months from now, you'll look back and you may have a story similar to ELYSE. So in summary, these are the big things that you need to do for LinkedIn to grow. Define your target, career goals, and audience. Optimize your LinkedIn profile. Build and nurture that network. So don't just post once a week. Try to have a goal of posting at least 3 times a week, or commenting 5 times a week on at least one thing, so that you can continue to grow and be in the algorithm. Engage with this content. Attend those experiences that are virtual, whether or not it's networking, if it's a conference, if it's a webinar like this, and learn and engage and connect with others. You may even connect with people who are in this webinar right now and kind of see if you can exchange LinkedIns with them and connect offline. And maybe you guys have some similar interests where you can kind of verify each other if you look into each other's work, or boost each other's profile and learn from one another. You definitely should leverage LinkedIn's multi features. That's supposed to say multi. You can publish valuable content that showcases your knowledge and skills, and be able to kind of correlate that and showcase what you're doing and what you know. Learn from thought leaders both in your field and outside of your field, but still remember to connect off site. So you can move this to a virtual coffee or a one on one or a group meeting or a Slack group where you guys are kind of learning together and growing together. And then being consistent. So I just did a lot of talking. I know that we probably have a few minutes left. So I just want to give us an opportunity for us to kind of chat and take some questions from the chat. So here's my information, my website, drurquita.com, my Instagram, and then my LinkedIn if you want to connect and ask more questions outside of this. But I'm going to stop sharing the screen and just see if I can take a few questions.
I think you answered it, Arkita, but it seems like there's another question again about the open to work button. Can you just answer that again?
I don't see. Where's the question?
It was like Tanya asked it again about leaving the open to work banner.
Okay. I would say yes, especially because there are a lot of people looking for jobs now. Sometimes they kind of think that it's not cool to leave it up. Honestly, I've been approached about leaving it up when I was working at other jobs because I didn't have it up today, but I usually keep it up year round, regardless of if I'm working or not, because I'm always open to opportunities. And that's also a good excuse if you're at your job. You can say, "Hey, I'm just keeping up year round. I didn't mean you," because some of the jobs get upset if they think you're leaving. But I would keep it up to answer the question. Any more?
Do you see that one about mentors? How to approach someone to be a mentor in LinkedIn?
Mentoring in LinkedIn is fun. I think a lot of people love talking about themselves. I will say that. So while they may not have the time, it's always okay to kind of send someone a message and say, "Hey, I love what you're doing. I want to learn how to get this to this place," or "I want to learn more about your organization," and those kinds of things. Can we set up a virtual one-to-one for 30 minutes? A lot of times people will say no. I'm sorry. A lot of times people will say yes. Yeah. If they say no, don't take offense by it. Sometimes they'll refer you to someone else, or they'll tell you about a community group that you can join. But don't let that first no deter you. I've met so many people over the years where I genuinely want to learn more about them. But when you're talking, you see how much synergy you have, and they're saying, "Oh, you should talk to so-and-so," or "Oh, you should read this," and you'll learn and you'll connect.
Nice. Any other questions anyone has? Go ahead and drop them in the chat. Most of the chat was very like, "Thanks, glad you answered my question."
Okay, well, we'll definitely feel free to connect with me if you have any questions. It may take me a little while to get back, but I'm happy to answer any. And then I would strongly encourage you guys to post your LinkedIns in the chat and connect with one another, because you're all women in tech and you all are looking for opportunities to grow. So there can be so many conversations that can come out of this. Who knows? You guys may create a startup together, but there are so many reasons to connect and learn and grow.
I love that. Do you see the one from Abby just threw a last minute question there about getting requests from people that you don't know and kind of being, are you comfortable doing that or not?
I will tell you a little secret. I don't think I know about 40% of the people, maybe more, on my LinkedIn. I think that's where the fun goes. If you're just keeping in your own box of people that you know, you're only going to learn from them. You're only going to get their information that they're sharing, and you're not going to learn about what's out there. You're not going to meet people to have virtual coffees with because you're talking about your community. So I would definitely accept them. You would see, if they're reaching out to you, they may be reaching out with you an opportunity or seeing something that they like that you post. And there's a block feature. I also use that often. So if they want to be salesy and keep kind of coming at you from that angle, or if they are not respectful, it's okay to block. But I accept.
Great. I just dropped your LinkedIn again just to make sure everyone had access to it. I think that's great. And I love all those tips, and I've used your tips quite a bit, and it always reminds me to get back in there and do more because there's so much more we can find on there.
Yes.
All right, well, we will share this recording. Everyone connect this at least. I mean, everyone's challenged to leave today's talk. If you attended, you should be connecting to at least 2 to 3 new people today. That would be a great challenge. If you just say, hey, you were in the talk, I saw your LinkedIn, do it. Push yourself a little bit, get out of that comfort zone is super important. And I thank you so much, Urquita, for this talk. It was wonderful, and I really appreciate your time and your talents that you share with us all the time.
Thank you so much. And I'll kind of push it further than what Katie said. If you haven't posted on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
can you post today about your experience with this event at GDI? Tag us in it and let us know what other kind of content you want us to do. Do you want us to have another hackathon? Do you want us to have more events like this? Like, let us know what you want from us, because we're here to help you. And then if you do connect with someone who is here, tag them in that post to see what response they have in the comments, and it'll kind of help with your algorithm and your engagement.
See, you're pushing us. I love it. Take us farther.
So we hope to hear about what you think about the expo, and see you soon.
Yeah, thanks so much. All right, we'll talk soon.
Thanks. Bye.